The Toronto Maple Leafs are currently prioritizing the acquisition of a right-shot defenseman, a strategic move aimed at bolstering their roster for the ongoing NHL season. This directive comes directly from the Maple Leafs management, specifically General Manager Brad Treliving, whose intentions have been widely reported by prominent hockey insiders. TSN's Chris Johnston and Darren Dreger, along with the fourth period's David Pagnotta, have all provided insights into the team's focused efforts. Recent reports have highlighted the urgency of this search. Chris Johnston's latest comments on Tuesday during early insider trading underscored the team's commitment, following up on earlier statements he made on January 12 during The Chris Johnston Show. David Pagnotta's report on Monday further corroborated Treliving's specific focus. While Darren Dreger had initially reported on Treliving ramping up efforts for defensive reinforcements as early as January 6. The overarching goal is to improve the Maple Leafs' defensive group, particularly on the right side, to enhance their chances in the competitive Eastern Conference playoff race. This need is partly driven by existing injuries, with players like Chris Tanev mentioned as being sidelined, which exposes depth issues and underscores the general desire to strengthen the blue line. Previous reports have provided a continuous narrative regarding the Leafs' defensive aspirations. Johnston had previously noted the team's interest in potentially bringing back Luke Schenn, a familiar face, on January 12. Pagnotta's more recent confirmation on Monday solidified GM Treliving's unwavering focus on securing a right-handed defenseman. Dreger's January 6 report added a layer of specificity, indicating that Treliving was actively seeking defensive reinforcements, with a preference for a puck mover, suggesting a desire for a defenseman who can contribute to offensive transitions. The Maple Leafs have already been linked to several high-profile defensemen in the market. Notably, the team was associated with Rasmus Andersson before his trade to the Vegas Golden Knights, indicating their pursuit of top-tier talent. More recently, some speculation has connected the team to the newly available Dougie Hamilton, a player of significant caliber. These links, however, often come with asset and salary cap challenges. Johnston emphasizes that with the Leafs now firmly back in the playoff race, management is keen to make strategic moves that will bolster their prospects. However, it is crucial to note that while the back end is a primary concern, it is not the team's exclusive focus. Adding a forward is considered a secondary need, despite the team's strong offensive production. Such a forward addition would likely serve a specific purpose, either providing shutdown minutes in critical situations or adding another top-6 weapon to their already potent attack. A significant hurdle in the Maple Leafs' trade endeavors is their limited asset pool. The team currently lacks first-round picks and other high-value assets typically required for big-game trades. This constraint necessitates a strategy of creativity and bargain hunting in the trade market, forcing Treliving to explore unconventional avenues for acquiring talent. Despite the active discussions and reports, the current status of the trade negotiations remains unclear. It is not yet evident how close the Maple Leafs are to executing any of these potential trades. However, Treliving's immediate and overriding priority appears to be stabilizing and strengthening the defensive core as the team pushes deeper into the season. The specific defensive needs of the Toronto Maple Leafs are clearly defined as acquiring a right-shot defenseman. This is not merely a preference for a player on the right side, but a precise requirement for handedness, indicating a strategic intent to optimize defensive pairings and puck movement. Darren Dreger's report further refined this requirement by indicating a strong preference for a puck mover among the defensive additions. This detail elevates the search beyond a purely defensive specialist, suggesting a desire for a blue liner capable of initiating offensive transitions, breaking out of the defensive zone effectively, and contributing to the team's overall offensive flow, rather than solely focusing on a stay-at-home type. Such a player would not only bolster the defensive integrity, but also enhance the team's ability to transition from defense to offense, a critical aspect of modern NHL hockey. The context of injuries, particularly the mention of Chris Tanev being sidelined, provides immediate justification for the urgency in acquiring defensive depth and quality. Tanev's absence, whether temporary or prolonged, highlights potential vulnerabilities within the existing defensive structure. It implies that the current defensive personnel, whether due to performance, injury, or strategic fit, are not entirely meeting the desired standard. This situation necessitates external additions to ensure the team can maintain competitive defensive play, especially as the season progresses into more crucial stages. The urgency is amplified by the competitive nature of the Eastern Conference, where defensive solidity often dictates playoff success. General Manager Brad Treliving's approach to addressing these needs is characterized by an active and targeted strategy. Reports indicate he is ramping up efforts and is currently more focused on the search for a right-handed defenseman. This language suggests a proactive and deliberate engagement with the trade market, moving beyond passive observation. Treliving is not simply waiting for opportunities, but is actively seeking out potential candidates, initiating discussions, and dedicating significant resources to this specific acquisition. This focused effort underscores the high priority placed on this defensive upgrade within the organization. A significant challenge confronting Treliving's strategy involves the team's financial and asset constraints. Chris Johnston explicitly highlighted the problem the Leafs have had all year long, concerning their inability to engage in big game stuff due to a lack of first-round picks and other assets. This limitation severely curtails their ability to acquire top-tier talent through conventional trade mechanisms. Consequently, the team is compelled to explore trades involving lower-value assets, potentially targeting older players, or those with expiring contracts who might be more attainable. The phrases creativity and bargain hunting are not mere rhetorical flourishes, but define the challenging nature of their trade strategy, requiring inventive solutions to navigate these financial and asset hurdles. The timing of these reports, coinciding with the Leafs getting back into the playoff race, directly links potential acquisitions to immediate team performance. Bolstering the defense is viewed as a direct method to bolster their chances in the highly competitive Eastern Conference. A stronger blue line can reduce goals against, improve special teams, and provide more consistent play, all critical factors for securing and advancing in the playoffs. The impact of adding a right-shot defenseman would significantly rebalance the blue line. Currently, the team might be left-shot heavy or lack sufficient depth on the right side. Such an addition could lead to more optimal defensive pairings, better coverage in the defensive zone, and improved overall team structure. However, the current lack of high-value draft picks carries implications for future asset management. Any trade made now will undoubtedly affect the team's cap space and future draft capital, forcing Treliving to be extremely strategic with remaining assets. On a more immediate level, making strategic additions can significantly boost team morale, signaling management's commitment to winning. Conversely, a failure to address clear needs could lead to frustration within the locker room and among the fan base, impacting overall team cohesion. The constant media speculation and reporting also raise fan expectations for significant moves. The pressure on Treliving to deliver a meaningful upgrade is substantial, especially given the team's historical playoff struggles, making this defensive acquisition a critical juncture for the franchise. Given the pronounced preference for a puck mover among potential defensive acquisitions, hypothetical trade targets could reasonably include defensemen known for their offensive contributions or their efficacious ability to initiate puck breakouts. Players currently on struggling teams or those with expiring contracts might present more financially viable and asset-friendly options for the Maple Leafs. The speculative mention of Dougie Hamilton, despite his significant cap hit and the inherent difficulties in acquiring him without substantial asset expenditure, serves to illustrate the caliber of player the organization might ideally covet if asset limitations were not a primary concern. Such a player archetype embodies the desired blend of defensive solidity and offensive transition capabilities. Beyond the immediate defensive imperative, the ongoing scouring the market for forwards indicates a multifaceted strategic approach by Toronto's management. This secondary search, while not the primary focus, suggests an adaptability to capitalize on diverse opportunities. This could involve identifying a versatile forward capable of excelling in shutdown roles, contributing effectively to the penalty kill, or taking crucial defensive zone starts. Alternatively, the search might extend to acquiring another top-six forward to inject additional scoring depth into an already potent offensive lineup, depending on the specific player available and the perceived immediate need. This dual-pronged strategy underscores the Leafs' comprehensive effort to enhance the roster wherever feasible, rather than a singular, myopic pursuit. The repeated emphasis on creativity and bargain hunting in the trade market inherently implies that any successful acquisitions will likely involve complex transaction structures. This could manifest as salary retention by the selling team, participation in three-team trades to facilitate asset movement, or the acquisition of players who are currently undervalued by their respective organizations. This strategic necessity also points towards a focus on players with more manageable cap hits, or those who could be secured for mid-round draft picks or prospects not yet considered within the team's elite tier. Such approaches are essential to circumvent the high asking prices typically associated with premium talent, especially when operating with a restricted asset pool. While external additions are clearly prioritized, the team simultaneously engages in internal evaluations of its current defensive roster. Any trade, particularly one involving a significant blue liner, will inevitably impact the ice time, roles, and overall defensive structure for existing Maple Leafs defensemen. This internal assessment ensures that potential external acquisitions complement rather than disrupt the current personnel, optimizing the overall defensive unit. Moving forward, General Manager Brad Treliving and his management team will maintain an active and vigilant watch over the entire NHL trade market. This continuous monitoring involves meticulously assessing all available players, scrutinizing their contractual situations, and understanding the asking price set by other teams. Concurrently, intensive scouting and analytical evaluation of identified potential targets will proceed. This process encompasses detailed assessments of player performance, their seamless fit within the Leafs' existing system, and a thorough review of their injury history to mitigate future risks. Once specific targets are identified and vetted, the critical phase of negotiation with other general managers will commence. The Leafs will face the challenge of formulating attractive trade packages despite their acknowledged limitations in high-value assets. This requires strategic packaging of prospects, conditional draft picks, and potentially leveraging other less conventional assets. Furthermore, any prospective trade will necessitate meticulous cap management. This could involve moving out existing salary, utilizing retained salary slots on previously traded players, or engaging in complex cap gymnastics to ensure compliance. This financial aspect remains a critical component given the team's existing cap situation. These early reports and ongoing efforts collectively set the stage for potentially significant moves leading up to the NHL trade deadline. The urgency to execute a trade is expected to intensify as the deadline approaches, particularly if the team's performance experiences fluctuations or if injuries create unforeseen gaps. Throughout this period, the constant media speculation and reporting will undoubtedly keep the fan base highly engaged, with every rumor and potential transaction scrutinized intently. The public reaction to any eventual trade will be a significant factor, reflecting the substantial pressure on Treliving to deliver a meaningful upgrade, especially given the organization's historical context and the persistent desire for playoff success.